Very interesting. Y'all check this out.
This is what's going to happen in the next crash. It's going to happen pretty soon. Obama signed something, thanks Obama, to where he made you an unsecured creditor. And what this means is the next crash, not going to be a bail out, it's going to be a bail in. This is called the Frank-Dodd Act.
Explain it. Bail in, like what do you mean by that?
So Obama signed the Dodd-Frank Act in which he saw the '08 crash, right? Never can happen again. So to withstand that and sustain that for the next crash, bail in is going to happen. So when the banks got bailed out last time, right? The bail in is where he makes everybody who has a bank account become an unsecured creditor. So when you deposit your money, guess what happens when there's a crash? Take it out. That's what the Dodd-Frank Act is. That's what he signed. To where, the banks don't have to get bailed out and scramble. No, we just have we have the money in the accounts already. This already happened.
So they're going to take everybody's money.
Yeah. When a crash happens and it's catastrophic and they can't print their way out of it anymore, what do you think they're going to take next?
That will cause a revolution.
Or a complete dystopian future to where we don't own anything.
Is that in the works?
Yeah, for sure.
Do you think they're going to be able to pull it off?
This already happened in Greece as well. Like, there's historical data that shows there's been bail-ins across the world. There's people throwing their money in the street because it's not worth anything. Like, we're $35 trillion in debt. Do you think we're going to get out of that debt?
I don't even know how all that works. Like, how
are we in debt to who? China? Who are we in debt to?
Well,
or is it England? What's going on?
We kicked the can down the roads for so long, and it's at a breaking point right now. We had a lot of greedy politicians and presidents and all these people in government who just pretty much sold us out. Why do you think we're selling so much shit? We really don't produce anything anymore. We're always selling shit in America.
We so don't.
With this act in place, with the national debt, which is, you can't recover it from that, what do you think is going to happen? It is now, right now, cheaper to rent than own a home right now. How do you get ahead? Where's the American dream at that point? We're priced out. The middle class is done for. We're going to get crushed by AI, the national debt. There's too much on top.
I don't know if there's a way back. How can you tell somebody who paid $700,000 for a house to sell it cheaper than that? Even though the house might not be even worth that.
Right.
Unless there's like a complete collapse.
I believe this is why Trump is really trying to set up America to be the crypto capital of the world. Not only to, push forward innovation, he's trying to get out of that debt. That's what he's doing. He's going to use crypto to try to get out of that debt.
Shalom. Giving all praises to Yahweh Bahashim Yahweh Shai, and double honors to the apostles, bishops, and elders of Great Millstone. May Yahweh Bahashim Yahweh Shai's peace be bestowed unto you, hopefully elect. I'm your brother Yahweh Call from Great Millstone, Orlando. And as I briefly mentioned in the previous video, going into these bail-ins, all right. What they call this Dodd-Frank Act. I believe it was established in 2010 due to the whole 2008 crisis. 2010 they established this Dodd-Frank Act, and I believe there's 16 titles to it, sections to it, over two, if I'm not mistaken, over 2,000 pages, small fine print, basically justification on taking people's money legally. All right. That's why you have all these beta tests. All right. These test runs. All right. Because you can just go in, look up on Google different nations, countries over the years that have actually, enacted this these bail-ins, these bail-in measures. I believe, if I'm not mistaken, China is the most recent. Going back into, was that 2019, if I'm not mistaken, but nevertheless, this is what this Dodd-Frank Act, it consists of. Now, of course, for peace and safety reasons, dealing with this act. They're going to put the narrative out there that for basically just holding the banks and things of that nature, just holding them more accountable and things of, just things like that. So they won't go through a 2008 crisis again. But when you read some of that fine print, if I'm not mistaken, because like I said, there's like 16 sections to it. One of the sections that you can look into is I believe that's Title II of the Dodd-Frank Act. Title II, the Section 2, as well as some of the, the other titles, of course. But I remember looking up specifically Title II, going into these measures to where, because when you look up what a bail-in is, and like it was broken down in this video, this act and certain of these different, these legislations that they put into place. All right. These laws, unjust decrees, as it says in Isaiah 10 and 1, that they put into place to legally, it justifies them in doing what they do. They write their laws so that they can do what they want to do. All right. Because to answer the question that was asked, who are we in debt to? Well, hey, we're all in debt to, obviously we're, in debt to Yahweh Bashim Shai. But as far as this thick clay, all right, the debt slave, that would be the international bankers, the Job 9024s. All right. So they're the ones that make up the rules because they can do what they want. The earth has been given over. Well, temporarily, it's been given over to the elites, the international bankers. All right. So that's who we're all debt slaves to. All right. And being that Esau, in particular the elites, they have the godlike complex. They want to be like the Most High. Right. They want to be in control. You see, and all things of that sort. But again, man, he's an unjust and wicked ruler, man. All he does is take, right? And this is what we're seeing. This is what we've been seeing. This is what we're going to continue to see. Esau put more legislation into place, more of these events, black swan events. All right. Everything's being put into place for Esau to go ahead and do what he's got to do, all right, to get this thing rolling. Because, the main prophecy we are on the lookout for is, of course, the MOTB. All right. So, like I said, man, as I was going into in the previous video, man, because I've been asking the question for years. Because things like this are already going on in other nations, other countries, all right? Spain, if I'm not mistaken, other countries. It's just a matter of time before it comes here to America. All right. But like I was saying, man, I've been saying, as far as the question, what is it going to take for these simple Babylonians to really take to the streets? And what I perceive that to be is going to be the food when people can't eat, and when people can't access their money. All right. We see all these bank failures, outages, cyber attacks, all these narratives here and there. But one day, people are going to wake up, man, to their funds gone. And I believe that's going to be the final blow. One of the major, major contributing factors to people really going batshit in the streets of America, man, when people can't access the money. All right. Because again, when you go into it, man, this whole Dodd-Frank Act, man, it's legal is justification on legally taking your money. You know, justification for legally taking your money. And that's how Esau operates. All right. So again, pursuant to that second Esdras 15. All right. You know, seditious among men. People are going to take matters into their own hands. And people can't access their money, their funds. Right. All hell's going to break loose out here. And we love to see it. We can't wait to see it. You know, we can't wait to see it. But it's all a matter of orchestrating the right event, the right crisis. All right. And that's really the thing about it, man. Just seeing what tricks Esau pulls out of his hat, man. You know, or whatever trick he, you know, whatever he pulls out the hat at this point. You know, because this law, again, you know, it makes you what's the word? God damn. Slakia. Because with these bail-ins, with this act and with bail-ins, the two go hand in hand, you know. It makes you an unsecured. Because when you go into it, Salaki, I forgot the term for it, but when you go into it, a bail-in, it makes man, I forgot the term for it, man. But basically, because when you, again, a part of the fine print, well, hey, in order for these bailouts, instead of doing bailouts, right, taking money from the taxpayers, well, hey, we'll just once you sign that dot, whatever bank that you sign up with, once you sign that dot, you know, you basically make yourself an what's the word? I believe it's an unsecured creditor. It's something along those lines. It's something along those lines. I forgot the term for it, Salakia. But with these bail-ins, again, instead of what they would say, taking money from the taxpayers, right? Well, with this act, with these bail-ins, because that's what it is when you go into it, hey, like I mentioned before, those 401ks, right? Anyone within a certain with anyone with above a certain amount of funds, you know, money or credit, basically, man, they'll just take that shit. You know, they'll strip that shit. You know, and brothers bring it out often when it comes to the average annual income for so-called Negroes and Latinos compared to Esau. Hey, man. Again, Esau in particular, he's going to go batshit, and we love to see it. We can't wait to see it. You know, we can't wait to see it. You know, but I'm going to grab this in Isaiah 10 and 1. Woe unto them that decree unrighteous decrees in that right grievousness which they have prescribed. So you see, again, because the international bankers, they make the law. So basically, man, hey, they can do whatever they want, but nevertheless, it justifies them. All right. Or just being who and what they are, the devil. Matter of fact, I read verse 2. To turn aside the needy from judgment, to take away the right from the poor of my people, that widows may be their prey and that they may rob the fatherless. And this is what Esau does. You know, when you read Job 24, it pretty much goes into how Esau, the wicked elites, man, they back everyone into a corner, you know, because what is this all in preparation of? to get everyone to take that MOTB. That's what all this is in preparation for. All right, for everyone to bow down to the image of the beast. All right, and in modern day, the bowing down of the image to the image of the beast is going to be in the form of that taking that MOTB. So this is what all this is grooming. Esau, the elites, man, the international bankers, they're grooming everyone. All right, and to as we mentioned on last week's Friday camp, the elect are being transformed to the image of Yahweh Shema Shai, and meanwhile, everyone else is being transformed into the image of the beast. All right. So when it comes down to it, hey, without question, these people, man, they're going to take the MOTB. There's too many investments. These people, they're too invested into the society. So when it crashes, man, hey, and that's the thing about it, man. This crash again. However they play this out, whatever trick Esau pulls out of the hat, man. All right, whatever tricks he got up his sleeve. However this plays out, man. When this thing finally switches over to the new system, all right, whether it's in the form of a blackout, a major cyber attack, however they do it, whether it's in the form of an EMP strike, man, however they do this, man, it's going to be catastrophic. It's going to make 2008 look like a walk in the park. All right, it's going to make 2008. It's going to make what's that? The Weimar Republic. All right, Venezuela. All these economies that have basically they're when their currency has crashed, right? All these events, all these incidences throughout time. This event, that's this impending event, this major crash, however they do it, is going to make all those other events look like together, combined, look like a walk in the park, man. What was I going to get? Slakia. So Psalm 10. Psalm chapter 10. In verse 8, he sitteth in the lurking places of the villages, in the secret places doeth he murder the innocent. His eyes are privily set against the poor. He lieth in wait secretly as a lion in his den. He lieth in wait to catch the poor. He doeth catch the poor when he draweth him into his net. Salakia. So yeah, again, this is what Esau, this is his MO. Forcing the world into a submission, all right, backing everyone into a corner, and that way, and with pun intended, all right, all pun intended, everyone's going to be sticking their hand out, because this is ultimately what it's going to lead to, the MOTB. And people are literally going to be sticking their hand out, to take that MOTB. Because pursuant to the prophecy in Revelation 13, there has to be a new way of buying and selling, all right. And as it says in Ecclesiastes, money is a defense. All right. So it's not going to be an embargo. All right. It's not the MOTB is not sleeping with the so-called white women. All right. And things of that nature. There's going to be a whole new system of buying and selling in order to partake into society. All right. You have to have this inserted device. And like it was mentioned in this clip, man, and this is how you know this is it's a controlled setup, controlled demolition, everything's set up, the word of the stage. This is how we know, because at one point, Trump's first term, man, he was against crypto, right? But now he's advocating for it. So this is how you know it's all a setup, the word of the stage. All right, but nevertheless, prophecy is going to play out. You know, so this is just all, again, you know, more fuel to the fire. All right. Again, you know, this could be very well be one of those things, I believe, is really going to cause people to go batshit crazy when they wake up and there's no money in their bank accounts, man. You know, second Edges 15. You know, people are going to take to the streets, and it's going to be the real deal. Because again, you have all these beta tests, right? You know, Esau put certain things out there just to, like a bait rage. You know, he just wants to see how the people are going to react. A lot of it's set up, agent provocateurs and things of that nature. You know, like the whole January 6th, you know, that shit was set up, right? But pretty soon it's going to be the real deal. And soon, you know, when it gets to that point, man, it's going to get to a point where, because, you know, like I said before, that controlled demolition, you know, but it's going to get to a point where it's going to be out of Esau's control, because ultimately he's not in control. It's Yahweh Bashim Shah's will, you know. So it's going to get to the real deal, beyond Esau's control. That way Yahweh Bashim Shah gets the credit. All right. And not the so-called white man, because he gets too much goddamn credit. We'll grab this last one, Isaiah 51. Isaiah 51 and 12. I, even I, am he that comforteth you. Who art thou, that thou shouldest be afraid of a man that shall die, and the son of man which shall be made as the grass? And forgettest the Lord thy maker, that has stretched forth the heavens and laid the foundations of the earth, and has feared continually every day because of the fear of the oppressor, as if he were ready to destroy. And where is the fear of the oppressor? So like I said in verse 12, you know, hey, he's like grass. Here 1 minute, gone the next. And Yahweh Shema Shah is going to mow this man down. You know, like I said, Esau, he gets too much credit, you know, but the Lord's going to show ultimately who's in control. Esau, again, he's going to have a certain amount of control, but it's going to get out of his control because he's not in control. It's all of the will of Yahweh Shema Shah. But nevertheless, this is a part of the master plan of these banking families, all right? These international bankers. You know, the crashes. They're a part of the whole crashing the system in order to usher in the new one. All right. You know, the scriptures talk about the year jubilee. You know, the year of release when you go into it. Basically, that great reset, right? That again. You know, apostles, bishops, and elders have been talking about for years. You know, New World Order, a great reset, and all these things. At one point, it was laughed upon, frowned upon, scoffed at, but now it's not so funny. All right, because the cat is out the bag, and everyone can see at this point. You know, everyone can see. You know, so again, yeah, you know, the world is a stage, but nevertheless, prophecy will play out. And the will of the Lord will come to pass, you know. So Lord willing, this was edifying. I just thought, like I said, you know, I mentioned this in the previous video, and I had this clip, you know. So I just thought I'd speak on it real quick. Hopefully it was edifying. All praises to Yahweh Bashim Shai. Shalom to you, hopefully elect.